man, I love October. Not only are the leaves changing and the trees just look absolutely vibrant, but it brings us Halloween! I'm gonna share with you one of my favorite projects of all time. Giant inflatable tentacles. Here are the basics. You need 2 sheets of plastic, a hot soldering iron, some wax paper, and a Sharpie helps. You lay your plastic on top of each other, draw out your design, put your wax paper on top of that, and simply drag your soldering iron across the surface to weld it. And there you have it. Trim off the excess, and you have your inflatable. Take this idea and scale it up really, really big. You want to keep your shapes as simple, large, and cylindrical as possible. This helps them keep their shape and stand upright if you want them to. Now is the perfect time to draw on any patterns, faces, or the little suckers that I use on my tentacles. And then all you have to do is trim off the excess, careful not to cut that seam, and tape it to a standard box fan. Voila! You have inflatable tentacles. Now, of course, 1 or 2 inflatable tentacles just isn't enough. I mean, can you ever really have enough inflatable tentacles? You're gonna wanna make a bunch of these. Go nuts. I mean, you're gonna need 8 at least, right? The great thing about giant inflatable tentacles is their versatility. You can use them to decorate your house, stuff a whole bunch of them in your car and let them fall out the windows like some ridiculous Halloween clown car. Take it a step further by creating a body to put a giant ghost octopus in your yard. Getting creative about how and where you place these tentacles is part of the fun. And once it gets dark, a little bit of mood lighting goes a long way. The cool thing about using just standard box fans is that they're relatively quiet. You could decorate your living room with these things and barely have to raise your voice. Now, of course, these aren't perfect. Using thin plastic has its downsides. They tear easily, but you can repair them with a little bit of clear packing tape. And you're kind of limited on color. It's really just clear or black. But as you saw, some lighting really changes the effect. Now, you may find yourself frustrated. You gotta keep to simple shapes, and your first tries may not turn out that great. Let me show you one of my failures. Here's a Slender Man that I thought I was gonna make, that I really thought this thing was gonna be like wow, like big and creepy and impressive, but after I slapped it together, it just looked kinda silly and dumb. That thing was ridiculous. I'd like to hear your ideas in the comments below on what shapes you think would work, or any ideas you have on homemade inflatables that would be really cool to see. Let's take a few minutes to look back on our last video. In the last video, we made these incredible looking fire tornadoes. They're really cool, but it didn't work whenever I tried to make one out of a bonfire. So I asked you what your thoughts were as to why it didn't work. Let's look at a few of those comments now. The first comment we want to look at is Dan and Alexander, who says, how could they work? Those leaves and branches cut up the flow. I think that's a pretty good point. The leaves and stuff and the branches were all sticking out at crazy angles, causing a whole bunch of turbulence, and it wasn't able to create a good vortex, and that's true. I was super rushed. I had only maybe a couple hours at that location, not enough time to cut and stack nice wood, and that's just one of the hazards of doing a video for the internet. But I think that if they were stacked right, and you were to create a big enough fire with a compact enough source, it could possibly work. Let's look at another comment. Richie Cotton made a pretty good observation that the solid fuel is burning down low and the liquid fuel is burning as it vaporizes. I think that also plays a huge role. If you look at how alcohol burns, the actual fumes are what's burning up in the air. The bonfire, we could see those ashes swirling in the air, but the flames weren't up there to be effective. So I think that burning the vapors has a pretty big role as well. Japneet Singh translates for us if you're in California, you shouldn't be making fires at all. And he's got a good point. California has had horrible drought and horrible wildfires. But no matter where you are, you could have drought. Even here in Missouri, where we have tons of rain, sometimes we have drought and we have warnings that there shouldn't be campfires. So no matter where you are, if you're playing with fire, contact your local fire department. All right, that's it for this time. Be sure to join us next time and subscribe to see more crazy videos from Make.
If you liked this video, subscribe to our channel or send us a comment on Facebook or Twitter. Be sure to check out our other project videos or visit us on makezine.com.